Science can measure what is happening, but it struggles rather a lot to explain why. It can chart the electrical storm in the brain of a savant or track the impossible heat resistance of a fire-walking monk. It can quantify the data, but it can't quite capture the source of the spark. The numbers tell us asterisk. What asterisk is occurring, but they fall silent when we ask asterisk. To understand that, we have to look beyond the machine and examine the operator, beyond the flesh, the bone, and the electrical signals. We must turn our gaze inward, to the silent invisible force that animates it all. The journey into superhuman abilities isn't just about what the body can do, it's about what the mind can command. It's a quest to understand the ghost in the machine. What if the most fundamental assumption we've made about ourselves is wrong? For centuries, we've believed that the 3-pound organ inside our skull, the brain, is the generator of our thoughts, feelings, and sense of self. But a growing number of neuroscientists, quantum physicists, and philosophers are arriving at a startling conclusion. There is no concrete evidence that consciousness is actually produced by the brain. Despite decades of searching, no one has found the consciousness center or the specific neural process that creates subjective awareness. Instead, the evidence points to a radically different model. The brain may not be a generator at all, but rather a receiver, a translator, a regulator. Think of it like a highly advanced radio, tuning into a signal that already exists everywhere. It doesn't create the broadcast. It simply picks it up and converts it into a form we can experience. This idea is supported by studies of deep meditative states. When monks and long-term meditators enter states of profound awareness and universal connection, you'd expect their brains to be firing on all cylinders. But fMRI scans show the opposite. Key areas of the brain, especially those related to our sense of self and ego, go quiet. Brain activity decreases, yet their subjective experience of awareness expands dramatically. Less brain activity seems to lead to more consciousness. This is a direct contradiction to the material-only model of reality, which insists that more complex mental states must require more brain power. The data suggests that our brain might actually be a filter, limiting a vast universal consciousness so we can focus on the tasks of survival. And when we learn to quiet the filter, we gain access to a much wider reality. If consciousness isn't confined to the brain, does it have power over the physical world? The strange world of quantum physics offers a resounding yes. For a century, physicists have grappled with the observer effect, the bizarre phenomenon where the very act of measuring a quantum particle changes its state. An electron, for instance, can exist as a wave of pure potential, but the moment you observe it, it collapses into a single, definite particle. Your observation affects the outcome. Expectation, too, seems to bend reality. Experiments have shown that the scientist's belief about an experiment's outcome can subtly influence the results, as if probability itself is nudged by belief. This points to a universe where information precedes matter, where thought isn't just a byproduct of physical processes, but a primary, organizing force. This isn't just theoretical. In carefully controlled laboratory experiments, intention has been shown to influence biological systems. At a distance, people focusing their intention on vials of water have demonstrated the ability to alter its crystalline structure. Dr. Emoto's famous experiments showed that water exposed to positive emotions and words formed beautiful, symmetrical crystals, while water exposed to negative ones formed chaotic, distorted shapes. Furthermore, focused intention can alter the heart coherence of another person, even from a different room. Our emotional states don't just exist in our heads. They radiate outward, affecting the physical structure of the world around us. This suggests consciousness is not a passive spectator watching the movie of reality. It is a causative agent, an active participant, a co-creator of the script. Was this knowledge lost to us, only to be rediscovered under a microscope? Not at all. Ancient traditions never had modern instruments, but they had a different kind of laboratory. The human body and mind, through introspection, meditation, and ritual, they mapped inner worlds with breathtaking precision. They didn't speak of neurotransmitters, but they identified energy systems in the body, like the chakras in Vedic traditions, or the meridians in Chinese medicine. They documented altered states of awareness, from shamanic trances to the enlightened states of Buddhist masters. And most importantly, nearly all of them arrived at the same core conclusion. Consciousness is the fundamental reality, the ground from which all of existence springs. Modern science, with its sophisticated tools, is now finally beginning to measure what these traditions only experience directly. It's discovering the measurable biological effects of meditation on brain plasticity and verifying the existence of biophotonic light emissions from the human body. It's a different language, but it points to the same timeless truth. So what happens when these two great streams of knowledge, modern science and ancient wisdom, finally converge? Without spirituality, science observes power but lacks wisdom. It can build a superweapon but can't decide if it should be used. It can map the brain but can't explain the mind. Without science, spirituality can lack structure and validation, sometimes getting lost in dogma or superstition. But when brought together, they reveal something extraordinary about our potential. They show us that the true source of superhuman ability isn't found in stronger muscles, a higher IQ, or even heightened perception. The most advanced human ability, the one that underpins all others, it's the ability to consciously direct our attention, to consciously choose our emotional state, and to focus our intention with laser-like precision. This is the master key that unlocks the door to our latent potential. It is the operator learning to master the machine. We stand at a precipice in human history. We are not evolving into something new and alien. We are simply remembering something ancient and essential about who we are. The forgotten language of the soul is being relearned. The future of humanity will not be decided by our technology alone, but by the level of consciousness we bring to using it. Will our tools be wielded with fear, separation, and a lust for control, or will they be guided by compassion, connection, and a deep understanding of our shared existence? The power to heal, to create, to transform reality itself does not lie in a future invention or a distant star. It has been here all along, waiting patiently within us. The real superpower was never out there. It has always been within. If you found this informative and it made you scratch your head, then click like and subscribe for more deep dives.